Hello, and welcome to the fifth video in this mini-series. This is going to cover all the types of content blocks on the website, and basically all the ways you can customize the content on a specific page in the website. So as mentioned in the first video, if you just scroll down on the home page, you'll see it mostly as a user would and without the editing capabilities. In order to get to the editing side of the website, you have to go away from the View tab and instead go to the Layout button. And that will bring up the same page, but in a format where you can see where sections and blocks can be added. And today we will be focusing on blocks. Okay, so blocks are basically the fundamental building blocks of the website. Um, there are all of these individual widgets here. For example, this video right here is a block, this text box is a block, and they're all the individual things on a page. To add a block, you'll see a bunch of add block options within every available slot underneath an existing block. So you'll go to add block. So this is the menu that will open up when you click add a new block. There's all these basically predetermined templates of blocks that have been built before. When creating a new block, I find that it's usually easiest to go with create a custom block because it lets me customize it to whatever purpose it needs to fill. And then there's all these options underneath here, and I will go through these, the more important ones one by one. To start, the accordion block is basically what we have here on the FAQ page. It's the drop-down boxes. To add an accordion, you click on it. There'll be the color option, which is you can change from gold, maroon, or gray. This will be the color that shows up on the left, like in the FAQs. The heading is whatever the question you want, or whatever you want the main sentence to be in the dropdown. And then the formatted text is what will be available when you click on it in the dropdown menu. And then add accordion panel adds a new panel, and you can add as many as you want for as many different drop-down menus under the accordion that you would like. The next block that I would like to look at is the block quote. And this is what a finished one looks like. It has the big quotation marks, and then you can put in a quote for educators. To add one of these, it is the block quote option. And essentially the quote itself will go right here in the text box. And then to add the author, it'll be right here under citation author. You can add an image as well to these. Then you'll hit add block. To go over the next couple of these briefly, the card options are essentially what the teacher highlights look like. This little, where there's the image on top and then the text box slightly overlaying it, that is what the website refers to as a card. And you can arrange them in a couple different ways with these custom blocks. You can have a card and an image, which is what these are. But that would just be a single one of these on a page. A card arrangement would be what this looks like here. Card carousel would be this, except it would be one row, and you would have the option to scroll through them. Moving on to, and those two I think are similar as well. If you play around with them, they'll all have a similar format to what these look like here. But just presented differently on the page, whether you want gallery or just a single one of them. So the divider blocks are pretty useful, and they are what these gray bars right here are. It's basically just an aesthetic thing. I use it to align spacing. For example, if I took this divider out, this text would be moved up and it would be off-centered from this video. So if you have something on one side of the page that is higher and on one side of the page it's lower, you can use the dividers to sort of even out the spacing to make the website look cleaner. There's very little customization that has to be done with the divider. You just hit the divider block and give it a title, and then you have these two options. I always use full width because it covers the full width of the page, or the full width of the whatever the spacing is where you're putting it. For example, this is a section with 2 columns, so it would cover the full width of the column. But I'll talk more about sections and the customization that allows in the next video. For the next couple of blocks, donut chart, events, grid links, and hero. The grid links, I believe, is just a grid where you can add different links and it'll be arranged in like a 4x4 or 3x3 format, depending on how you want it to be aligned. We don't have any of those on the website currently, and I don't believe we have any of these 3 widgets yet on the website, but they're just options for more customizations. One that is used very often throughout all the pages is the image. That's pretty self-explanatory. It will just look like this. You can add an image anywhere on the site. An image and a text block is slightly different. It's not what these look like. These are two separate ones. There's an image here and a text block here. An image and a text block looks a little bit different. It is what this looks like, where essentially you have the image and the text side by side, and it locks them together so that the text remains spaced with the image. This only works when you have text that is smaller than an image box because it's locked to the image. So if you have text that goes past the image, it's gonna just run at, like, I think beyond the border of the box and look kind of ugly. It doesn't resize the image to fit the text, so you only want to use the image and text block when you have just a brief amount of text that is smaller than an image. The image background with call to action, that is basically what is at the top of every web page. You wouldn't need to use this unless you're making a new main page of the site. And it allows you to put text over the front of the image and these. It's basically a full length image. It's basically a full length image that covers the entirety of the entire width of the web page. Image carousel, we do have one of these on the site currently, and that is right here at the bottom of our fellows. It's basically an image gallery, except it has this little button at the bottom. I can't click it since I'm in edit mode, but it lets you scroll through the images, essentially. I have it set up for Fellows in Action to show pictures from previous end of the year reports that we've gotten media approval for. For image grid, it's similar to this, except you don't have this scroll through button here. Instead, it's in a grid format where you have a certain number on each line, and you can choose the number of lines you want. I don't believe we have any of these yet. Staff grid is what the grid on the contact us page looks like. It'll basically create another one of these. There's not really a need to create a second one of these, but it'll give you basically the template for what this page looks like. The text content block is probably the most important of all these blocks. It's used throughout the website. It basically is what allows us to add new text to the website. So click on it. It's really straightforward. You add the text in here. I'll have a video that describes formatting a little more, but essentially this is what it will show up like. And finally, we have the video block down at the very bottom, and that is what these look like. This is an example of a video block. So this is the NSTA video. It'll give you media right here. You just hit add media right in there. You can add a caption to the video if you like, which will appear right below the embedded video. And yeah, I think that is all of the text box. That's all of the And yeah, I think that's all of the blocks that we currently have on the website. There's definitely some more in this drop-down menu that I didn't cover because I haven't played with them yet and we don't currently have them on the site. I'm sure there's more options for customizations than what we're currently employing, but I think the ones I covered in this video are definitely the basics, and it's how I put together everything that you see on the site thus far. Yeah, so this concludes this video. The next video in this series is going to be about sections on the website, and those are basically content containers for blocks, and it allows you to play with the spacing on each web page and make sure it's all spaced correctly, or in multiple columns rather than blocks that cover the full width of the web page.